Okay.
One of the movies I still had yet to review in 2015 was The Walk. It came out October 9th, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt and directed by Robert Zemeckis. So in 1974, high-wire artist Philippe Petit recruits a team of people to help him realize his dream to walk the immense void between the World Trade Center towers. Now this was a true story, based on a true story anyway, and I was like, I didn't know that much information about it going in, and except obviously that it happened, so I wasn't sure what to expect. Joseph Gordon-Levitt as our main lead was very convincing. His voice didn't throw me off at all. He immersed himself in the character, and you see that, and you find it's very interesting to watch him. Honestly, he brings a lot of depth to it. And the thing is, like, despite the fact that the character himself, the person comes off a bit crazy, you see his drive, you see the passion that he has, and you're hoping, even though in the end, you're hoping that he achieves his goal, which is good to have for a main lead for what the story is focused on. There are other characters that do have some form of presence in the movie. It's very limited. The acting's fine overall, but there's a love story that's thrown in there, and it had to be thrown in there because she ends up becoming part of the team that helps them achieve this, so I get that. But at the same time, it had a little focus on it at the beginning, but just kind of died away and then played itself off at the end, so it didn't really feel that relevant. I want to say almost an hour of this movie, which is slowly building up to the point where he goes to New York and everything. It's all building up to the point where he gets there through the training and how he got invested in this and everything. While it is technically important to understand the history of the person to see where the person is at the point in the movie, the climax of the movie, obviously, you have to have the setup there. I felt like they spent too long on it. The movie is 2 hours and 3 minutes, and I did feel like that. The first half of the movie or so really was slow and dragged out. And again, it's relevant in the sense that we have to have some type of history. We have to have some type of starting point in order to get where we're needing to go. But at the same time, I felt like there was too much of a focus on it, and that could have been cut down. Again, the acting itself was fine overall, but the only real standout for me was Joseph Gordon-Levitt, because everyone else had such smaller parts to play, and they didn't really do that much in the story. Now, the good thing is, the interesting aspect of the story is when he goes to New York and he's trying to somehow achieve this, because obviously it's illegal, and then there's so many things working against them at the time, and it does kind of feel like a heist movie, except they're not stealing anything. I mean, they're still doing something illegal, but they're not stealing anything. So you had all that, and all that was working just fine. I was invested in the story at that point, so that really worked well for me. And this film is nothing but kind of like a love letter to the towers, which I really appreciated. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about seeing them again in a film, but I really like the amount of respect, amount of love that they showed to that. So that was really good as well. And then, of course, ultimately, when everything comes into place, there are hiccups along the way and everything. When everything happens and you see him step out and start to do that walk, it's kind of amazing. It takes your breath away. There's a lot in that moment. There's a lot of build up that pays off in that moment. So I think that's a really good job. Now, it ties up weirdly in the end for me, so I'm not sure necessarily why it did that. Also, there are moments throughout the film where you have a bit of a voiceover telling you information and everything, which can be fine. But in this particular case, you see Joseph's character, and he's standing at like the Statue of Liberty, and he'll provide you with some information or what have you, like narration does, and then he'll be like, and oh, let's go ahead and see, and then he'll, like, he'll pan back, and that was kind of jarring. It felt really out of place. I don't know why it was there. I feel like a lot of people might have thought the same thing. I don't know, but at least for me, from my perspective, it felt kind of weird. But anyway, so this movie was an entertaining movie. It was definitely a decent movie. I can see why it wasn't mentioned for so much when it came to like Oscars, and I kind of see why it faded away a little bit, because while it is neat and the second half of it works for the most part, I think the first half doesn't, and there's not a lot going for it in terms of characters and like I said, the narration and stuff like that. There's definitely weird aspects to it, but the highest portion of it, the portion where they're focused on getting to those towers, and ultimately the payoff from that, was very well done. So giving this a rating 1 through 10, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It's solid. And I don't regret getting it. I mean, I got it cheap, but I don't regret getting it either way. So anyway, but that's what I think about it. Have you seen this movie? If you have, go ahead and let me know in the comments below what your opinion is. Hopefully you enjoyed this vid. Click that like button, share, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other vids. I do appreciate it. I appreciate everyone who's subscribed to me and who's watched my vids and commented on it. It means a lot. I like, sharing my opinion, but I like hearing from you guys as well. So thank you. And until next time, peace.